There's a strange moment in every market cycle, a moment when everything looks perfect. Prices are high, confidence is unshakable, and every voice around you says the same thing. This time it's different, but it never is. What appears to be strength is often the final act before the fall. It's like the silence before a storm, calm, almost beautiful, yet carrying a tension that only the experience can sense. Silver is standing in that moment now. The charts look impressive, there's analysts are optimistic, and investors are convinced that the recent rally was proof of unstoppable momentum. But if you listen carefully, not to the noise, but to the underlying rhythm of the market, you'll hear something different. You'll sense imbalance. You'll sense exhaustion, because markets, like nature, always find equilibrium. And when something grows too far, too fast, the correction is never a question of if, only when. There's a hidden irony in every boom. Success blinds us to the very risks that success creates. People begin to believe their own stories, that prices rise because they deserve to, that they've outsmarted history, that this time the fundamentals don't matter. But fundamentals always matter. They may hide in the shadows for a while, but when the light shifts, they reveal themselves brutally, clearly, without emotion. And when they do, the illusion breaks. It's important to understand that strength in markets or in life is never just about what's rising. It's about what's supporting that rise. If the foundation is built on speculation, on borrowed optimism, or on unsustainable leverage, then what looks like strength is only temporary. It's a mirage, one that fades when reality sets in. And reality always sets in the investors who survive, who grow, who transcend the crash. They're not the ones chasing the last wave of euphoria. They're the ones who quietly step back, observe, and prepare. They recognize the pattern. They've seen it before. They know that behind every record high lies an invisible fragility, a structure under strain. And when that structure gives way, as it eventually does, they're not shocked, they're ready. The illusion of strength seduces even the wise. It's human nature to want to believe that what feels good will last forever, that the rally will continue, that we've finally beaten the cycle. But wisdom, real wisdom, comes from humility. It comes from accepting that what goes up must come down, not as punishment, but as balance. Every correction restores fairness, resets expectations, and reminds us that the laws of the market are not negotiable. So as silver stands tall today, glittering in the spotlight, remember this: what shines brightest often burns out first. Don't let the glow blind you. See through it. Feel the rhythm beneath the surface, the quiet shifts in sentiment, the tightening in liquidity, the whispers of uncertainty. That's where truth hides, not in headlines, not in hype, but in the quiet data points that reveal change before it's visible. And when you understand this, you stop reacting to the market and start understanding it. You stop being driven by emotion and start being guided by principle. That's when you become more than an investor. You become a student of cycles, a master of patience, and a builder of resilience. Every fall in price tells a story not just of numbers, but of forces quietly moving beneath the surface. What's happening with silver right now isn't random. It's not chaos. It's a natural consequence of powerful, invisible forces converging, forces that have been building for months, maybe even years, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves. People look at a falling price and think something has gone wrong. But the truth is, it's often been right for too long. That leads to what feels wrong. The economy breathes in and out, expansion, contraction, optimism, fear, and silver, being both an industrial metal and a store of value, lives right at the intersection of those breaths. When the economic lungs tighten, silver feels it first. Interest rates rise, inflation cools, the dollar strengthens. Each of these movements might seem small in isolation, but together they form a storm, a quiet, inevitable one. When yields climb, the opportunity cost of holding non-yielding assets like silver becomes heavy. Investors begin to shift their focus, chasing safer returns. The very flow of money, the lifeblood of markets, starts to move elsewhere. That's not panic. That's the system finding balance again. Then there's sentiment, the most misunderstood force of all. Markets are emotional organisms. They feed on human feelings, excitement, greed, fear, pride. And when that collective emotion turns even slightly, it cascades. Traders react not to facts, but to each other's reactions. What begins as hesitation becomes a sell-off. What starts as doubt becomes conviction. And before long, everyone's looking for an exit at the same time. But there's another layer, the industrial one. Silver isn't just a financial asset, it's a metal woven into the machinery of modern life, solar panels, electronics, medicine. When global demand slows, when factories produce less, when supply chains tighten, the industrial appetite for silver contracts. That's not speculation. That's reality. The same metal that rides the wave of innovation can also sink under the weight of stagnation. And yet, beneath all of this, there's something more profound, a reminder that markets are mirrors of human behavior. Every rise and fall is a reflection of our collective psychology. We expand too far, then pull back too hard. We celebrate too loudly, then fear too deeply. It's not just silver that's moving, it's us. Our confidence, our impatience, our need for control in a system that humbles even the greatest minds. So, when you watch the price of silver falling, don't just see it as a collapse. See it as a conversation between reality and illusion, between hope and adjustment, between the desire for endless growth and the truth of natural rhythm. The market is simply recalibrating, reminding us that value isn't built on excitement. It's built on endurance. And that's the lesson hidden in the decline. The same forces that cause the fall are the ones that make the rise possible later, because without pressure, there is no strength. Without contraction, there can be no expansion. What's happening now is not destruction, it's preparation. The system is cleansing itself, resetting expectations, and teaching investors once again the discipline of patience. When we talk about markets, silver, gold, stocks, or anything else, we often talk in terms of charts, numbers and data. But underneath all of that lies something far more powerful, far more unpredictable: human emotion. The rise and fall of markets are not just reflections of economic forces. They're reflections of us, our hopes, our fears, our instincts, our blindness. And right now, the silver market is not just reacting to policy or demand, it's reacting to emotion, to human behavior caught between fear and denial. There's a moment in every cycle when emotion replaces logic. It happens quietly, subtly. At first, it looks like confidence, optimism, excitement, conviction. But over time, that confidence hardens into arrogance, and arrogance blinds people to reality. They stop asking questions. They stop studying data. They start following the crowd because it feels safe. And that's where danger always begins. In the world of investing, the crowd is almost always wrong at the turning points. When everyone is buying, when the energy feels unstoppable, that's when the seeds of reversal are already being planted. But most don't see it. They can't, because emotion clouds judgment. It turns rational minds into reactive ones. And when silver prices start falling, fear replaces greed instantly. The same investors who shouted about never selling suddenly can't hit the sell button fast enough. This is the paradox of markets. The very emotions that drive us to invest are the ones that destroy us when we lose control of them. It's not the crash that hurts the most, it's the panic that follows. It's the moment you stop thinking clearly, stop trusting your strategy, and let fear dictate your next move. That's when fortunes disappear, not because the market moved, but because the investor did. You see, it's don't punish intelligence, they punish emotion. The market has no feelings, no sympathy, no agenda. It simply reflects reality over and over again. The illusion of control is what breaks us. We think we can predict every movement, that we can outsmart the system. But the truth is, control comes not from predicting, but from preparing. From accepting uncertainty, from having the emotional discipline to stay centered when everything around you is shaking. And this is where mastery begins. The great investors, the ones who last decades, not years, don't just study economics. They study themselves. They learn to observe their own minds in moments of fear and euphoria. They learn to pause before reacting. They learn that emotion is not the enemy, but a signal, a warning that your judgment is being tested. The silver market, like all markets, is a mirror. When it falls, it's not just revealing weakness in price. It's revealing weakness in discipline. It's showing us how quickly we lose balance when the narrative changes. But it's also offering a lesson, a painful, necessary one, because every emotional crash teaches you something data never could. It shows you who you are when comfort disappears. That's where growth happens. In that uncomfortable silence between fear and understanding, when you feel the urge to run but choose to stay still, when you let the market move through its cows without letting it move you. The truth is, emotion will always be part of investing. It's what makes us human. But when you learn to see emotion as a signal instead of a command, that's when everything changes. That's when you stop being a victim of volatility and start becoming a student of it. That's when fear becomes awareness, That's when uncertainty becomes opportunity. If you look closely at the history of markets, not just silver, but every asset, every boom and bust, you'll notice something extraordinary: patterns, rhythms, echoes of the same behavior repeating across decades, across generations. Different times, different technologies, different people, yet the same story, because no matter how advanced we become, no matter how much data or AI or analysis we use, human nature doesn't change. And that's why cycles never lie. They only repeat. Every market lives through seasons. There's the spring of opportunity. When prices are low, when fear dominates and the few with courage plant seeds. Then comes the summer: optimism, growth, expansion, the harvest of patience. But soon after, autumn arrives, the air cools, the first hints of exhaustion appear, and before you know it, winter settles in, prices fall, panic spreads, and the same investors who celebrated at the top start questioning everything. It happens over and over again, not because the system is broken, but because it's human. Silver, right now, is simply living through one of these seasons: its rise, its fall, its pauses. None of it is unnatural. Yet so many treat the decline as a betrayal, as if the market owes them constant growth. But cycles are not enemies. They are teachers. Each one carries lessons in patience, in timing, in humility. The wise don't resist them. They study them. They understand that you can't plant in winter or harvest in spring. You move with the rhythm, not against it. There's a deep emotional truth in this. Most people don't fail because they lack knowledge. They fail because they lack rhythm. They get swept away by emotions at the wrong time. When prices rise, they feel unstoppable. When prices fall, they feel defeated. But the investor who survives, the one who builds wealth and understanding over a lifetime, is the one who sees beyond the moment, the one who can look at winter and still remember that spring always returns. Cycles remind us that nothing stays the same, not the highs, not the lows, not the chaos, not the calm. Everything moves, everything breathes. The danger comes when we forget that, when we believe we can hold the wave still, when we convince ourselves that the good times will never end. That's when nature reminds us who's in control. Not us. Not the central banks. Not the media. The rhythm of the market itself. Ancient, patient, and unbreakable. There's something beautiful in that inevitability, because once you understand the cycle, you stop fearing it. You stop chasing every rise or hiding from every drop. You begin to see opportunity in both directions, in growth and in decline. You stop being emotional and start being intentional. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? When silver falls, it's not chaos, it's correction, it's balance returning, it's nature adjusting what became unsustainable. And when it rises again, it's not luck. It's alignment, the reward for understanding the pattern and respecting the process. The greatest investors in history weren't those who predicted the next move. They were the ones who respected the cycle. They didn't panic when winter came. They prepared for it. They built systems, not reaction. They stayed calm when others broke. They knew as every season turns, as every storm passes, that cycles don't lie. They tell the truth over and over again until we finally learn to listen. Every decline, no matter how painful, carries within it a quiet invitation, an opportunity most people never see because they're too busy staring at what they've lost. When silver falls, the headlines scream panic, investors rush to exit, voices rise in fear, and confidence disappears, lies like smoke in the wind. But beneath that noise, beneath the fears, something powerful begins to take shape. A reset, a moment of truth, a chance to rebuild with clarity and strength. It's in these very moments when markets collapse and optimism fades that real opportunity is born, because opportunity never announces itself in comfort. It comes wrapped in uncertainty, disguised as loss. It tests your vision, your patience, and your faith in your own principles. The fall in silver is not a signal to run away. It's an invitation to look deeper, to see beyond the pain of the present moment and into the possibilities that lie on the other side. Every great investor, every great mind who has ever mastered the market has faced this test, the ability to see order in chaos, light in darkness, value in fear. When prices crash, the crowd only sees destruction, but the wise see creation, the clearing of excess, the cleansing of greed, the return to balance. They know that nothing truly valuable ever disappears. It only changes hands. And those hands belong to the patient, the disciplined, the ones who refuse to let emotion dictate their fate. Think about it. When everything is rising, everyone feels like a genius. But when everything is falling, only those with real understanding survive. That's when conviction is forged. That's when wisdom matures. It's easy to believe in opportunity when prices are climbing. It's far harder when your portfolio is red and the world is whispering defeat. But that's exactly when belief matters most. You see, decline doesn't destroy value. It reveals it. It strips away illusion, leaving behind only what's real. The inflated narratives vanish, the noise fades, and what remains is truth, assets priced closer to their worth, opportunities that were once hidden behind hype. That's when you find the best entry points, the most authentic chances to grow. But to recognize them, you have to be calm enough to look. You have to silence the panic around you long enough to hear your own reason. This is where perspective becomes your greatest weapon. If you see a fall as failure, you'll freeze. But if you see it as transformation, you'll move with purpose, because every ending is just a new beginning wearing a different mask. The decline in silver isn't the death of potential, it's the cleansing of distortion. It's the system purging what's weak so that what's strong can rise again, stronger, more stable, more sustainable. And that's the hidden beauty of every downturn. It rewards the disciplined. It humbles the arrogant. It clears space for those who are prepared to act when others retreat. This is where legacies are built, not during the noise of a bull run, but in the silence of correction. So when silver falls, don't just see the crash. See the creation that follows. See the chance to accumulate knowledge, to refine your principles, to position yourself where few others have the courage to stand, because was when the cycle turns, and it always does. Those who looked beyond fear will be the ones holding the keys to the next rise.